Hey, Motorman here, and what you're looking at is the cheapest running Harley Davidson bagger in America. Paid $1,000 for this motorcycle. I'll give you the story. A friend of mine calls me up. He bought this bike brand new in 2007, put all the police gear on it. He's a retired cop from New York, but not a motor officer. But he did come to my class, so I gave him the skills of a motor officer, and he wanted all the gear on it, the lights, the sirens, even a radar unit. I love the radar because, as I probably mentioned before, even though I'm retired, if I have a police bike with the lights and the sirens, the sheriff lets me go out and do traffic anytime I want, and I get to keep half the money for the ticket, so I'll make up that $1,000 in a day or two at most. Okay, I just made that up. I know it pisses people off. It'd be nice if we could do that, but no, we can't. But this bike has 49,000 miles. It's been ridden. It's been ridden hard. He's taken this bike to Sturgis, to Alaska, I think twice. He's ridden it all over the place. Now, when you have a bike like this with 49,000 miles, like I said, it's been ridden. It's better to have an older bike like this instead of having 5,000 or 6,000 miles. A machine like this needs to be ridden. So he rode the bike. It's got probably average mileage for a 17-year-old bike. And it is filthy. I mean, really dirty. He let it sit for 2 or 3 years like this, put a battery in it, and it started right up. So after the startup, now it's time to clean this motorcycle. What I'm using is Purple Power, formerly known as Purple Stuff. It's got some acid in it. It's a heavy-duty cleaner. It's going to get all the dirt, mud, pollen, everything off of this motorcycle. And it took me probably an hour and a half to get it to where I felt that I could start detailing the paint a little bit. I wasn't sure how much work the paint was going to need, but the only way to find out is to do a good thorough wash. Now I know you're going to ask, what's this thing? That's the ABS. On the early bikes, when they first came out with ABS, they put it on the police bikes first. I believe it was from 2005 to 2007, and it was quite a big unit. It took up about a third of the bag. I'm going to show you the bags next. And here's the bag. This is the right side. And as you see, it takes up way too much room, at least for civilian motorcycles. So they waited until they had a much more compact unit that went behind the right side cover, and it gave you the full use of the bags. All right, here it is with just a simple chemical wash. Paint is in really good shape. Right here, there's some scuffing on the side here, and that's from those covers that he had on. When sand or anything gets in there, they tend to get scuffed, but that'll buff out. The worst problem right here is the side covers, and I believe that'll buff out, but they're easy to paint as well. But there's no rust at all on the motorcycle. Tank still shines beautifully. I'll show you the other side. I know you didn't get to see a lot of the other side while I was working because I didn't want to keep moving that camera around. Plus it would be facing the sun, but this is a major improvement with a simple wash. This is what happens when you put a bra on even your car or your motorcycle. You get this, it's just sort of scuffing. It comes from when it gets wet and you leave it on there. So I'm going to attempt to buff it off. I think I could do it. Use a little abrasive compound and see what happens. And here's the fairing after polishing and buffing. I thought of wet sanding it, but I just went with the polishing and buffing, and it's pretty good. It came out a lot better than I thought it would. By the way, I use this stuff right here. I've never used it before. It's from Chemical Guys. It's called Perfection Polish, and it worked pretty good. I had to go over this with the buffer at least 7 or 8 times to get it to where you see it right now. If you remember, this was all scuffed up from the bra, similar to what you see right here. And I think I'm sure I'll be able to buff that out as well. The side covers are the worst. And that's strange because there was no cover on the side covers. There was no vinyl cover on there, but for whatever reason, they look pretty bad. Well, all right. I had to use the buffer, but it's looking pretty good. Get all that scuff off of here. Not perfect. It's not brand new, but it's pretty good. For a 17-year-old motorcycle, not bad. Hello, right here it is. This is after a chemical wash with purple power. That's to get all the dirt and grime off of it. And then I buffed. I'm going to show you what I used. This stuff right here. And I found that, and I was using this Groit's small buffer. These, by the way, like 140 bucks. They're just slightly better than doing it by hand. They're just about useless. I have a $59 or $49 buffer from Harbor Freight. I should have just taken this piece off of it and put it on that one because it's got a lot more power. But I found out after doing the fairing, which I showed you was pretty scuffed up from the bra, that all I really needed was this white diamond. This is a wax that's got a good amount of cleaner or abrasive in it, and that was really all that was needed. Probably, if you're going to do a professional job on a bike like this, a good finishing polish is what's needed. But I just wanted to get it looking good, and I think it does. Right now, from, well, 3-4 feet away, it looks like maybe a 4-year-old motorcycle instead of a 17-year-old motorcycle. It's got 49,000 miles, one owner, been taken care of, ridden. Of course, he rode it to Sturgis and back, and also up to Alaska, I believe. So sometimes if you get a bike that's, 7 or 8 or 10 years old and it's got a couple of thousand miles on it, that could sometimes be the worst thing, because machines are made to be used. This bike was used, like I said, 49,000 miles, been laying up for 2 or 3 years, and of course it's got all the police equipment on it. I may take this off, I'm not sure yet. I like having the little tour pack, but it's filled with wires and all kinds of stuff for the lights, so it's really no good for any kind of storage. But the bike looks pretty good. Even the chrome is in excellent shape. It needs chrome polish, which I haven't done yet. You can see, I'll show you little spots here where it's not pitted. This kind of stuff here, and that's easy to get off with some chrome polish. I haven't done that yet, but I will as we go along. But the first thing this bike needs is new shocks. The shocks on this bike are 12-inch air shocks, and I gave him those shocks I took off another bike some years ago. In fact, it was back in 2007, and this is way too close to the ground. So I got to take those shocks off. I'm going to find a set of used newer shocks, the ones with the adjustable spring, and I'm going to throw those on there. And of course, before I even take it around the block, I'm going to change all the fluids in it. This oil's been sitting in there for 2 or 3 years, and so has the gas. He did put stabilizer in it, and the gas, the bike starts up, but I'm going to drain that tank. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm going to be doing a video on changing the shocks. Pretty simple thing to do, but I'll show exactly how it's done. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this.